There was one time when I got a bit too much bounce and my balance isn't very good. So then I was just like...
flying off on a tangent.
Yeah, flying off. Welcome to the Wellness Breakdown. I'm Rose Ferguson.
And I'm Eve Kalinik, and we are super excited that we are now YouTubing our podcast, which means that not only can you listen to it on an audio format, but you can also watch us on video. The podcast basically works with Rose and I setting challenges for each other based on specific wellness trends and fads that we know a lot of you guys are interested in, and that's kind of how the podcast came about, right?
If you have anything that you would like us to look into or investigate further, any new fads or crazy stuff you're trying, then let us know, because we love to hear from you.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Wellness Breakdown. I'm sorry, but I really can't stop laughing about this week's challenge.
Well, I'm glad you think it's funny, because I'm really stressing out about it.
No, the challenge is fine in itself. In fact, actually, I think you'll probably, once you get into it, you'll really enjoy it. It's kind of the image of you doing it that's making me laugh.
God. Okay, come on, tell me. What is it?
Okay, so the challenge I have for you is, can trampolining lift our mood?
Oh.
So... yeah, so basically with the kind of, I don't know, more increased awareness, and we're talking more about mental health and lots of tools around that, which we've mentioned many times on the pod before about, you know, using meditation and journaling and all this type of thing. It's not for everybody. You like to be active and you prefer sort of high energy things, and you can find it quite hard to like necessarily sit and be still. So this is why I thought maybe rebounding might be a good challenge for you, because it kind of gives you that respite in a way, but it's doing something that's kind of active. So basically I want you to use a trampette or a trampoline. I know you do have a trampoline, for 20 minutes each morning, and see how that affects your mood. Maybe it helps you to release more of these kind of like endorphin type chemicals. So how do you feel about doing this bouncy challenge, Rose?
Well, now it makes sense to why you're thinking it's so bloody hilarious, the videos. Because I do have a trampoline that is growing in the... There's like, I mean, it's a very old trampoline that the kids used to use that's like covered in grass now. So we can sort of clear some space,
debris.
Clear the debris, yes. And reinstate the trampoline to its former glory. Do you know what's funny, actually? My gran, she was a very tall woman, my grandmother. She was 6'2". And she was a big lady, and she had size 9 feet. She was a lady who had the first health food shop in the country. And she used to have a trampette, which always used to make us laugh, because she was a big lady. She was very, very posh. And she used to bounce on her trampette. And the trampette just wasn't big. The trampette wasn't really big enough for her. You know, it just didn't make sense. But anyway, she used to bounce. That would be her exercise. Darling, I'm doing my bouncing, is what she'd say. So actually, that's what's making me giggle, thinking of her doing that. So that's quite nice. But she used to swear by it.
I mean, you can sort of see there's obviously going to be health benefits, because, you know, people do it for that, as in fitness benefits, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I'm sort of setting it really is that, you know, you have come to the real kind of like, you know, peak of your masters, and, you know, running your business alongside that and family. So, you know, I'm just thinking it will give you a bit of time out in a way that would help, you know, from a mood perspective, because it can get quite like, you know, there's a lot that you're doing at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if you do feel some of those benefits as well, and if physically, if you do feel like, yeah, actually you do get any sort of muscle soreness or anything like that. So I know you've got the shoulder injury, but because it's like low impact on the joints, it's probably why your gran was doing it. Do you have any concerns around the challenge?
No, not really. Just getting on and off the trampoline. No, I don't.
Breaking a neck, getting on and off it.
No, I don't. I don't have any concerns. But it will be interesting mood-wise, because I do feel at my full bandwidth at the moment. Work is really busy. My master's really busy. It sort of started slightly copable at the beginning of the year. Copable? That's not even a word, but you know what I mean. And it is now pushing its luck. Work-wise, it's just full on. So actually having a bit of respite from that, if that is what I get from bouncing, would be fantastic.
Yeah, there's something I think quite freeing about and childlike almost in it. And I think that's quite nice, because a lot of the time when we get stuck in the sort of day-to-day rigmarole, it's quite hard to like have that sense of freedom and fun. I think that's the thing. Play is like such an underrated pillar of health and well-being, and I think there's something quite just playful about it that you're not going to get from like other exercise or meditation and stuff like that. So anyway, well, look, good luck with it.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear how you get on.
Me too. Well, I look forward to telling you, I think, and I will do a video for you at some point.
Oh, please. Multiple videos, please.
I very foolishly decided to do this trampetting thing, rebounding, on my trampoline, which is outside. And as everyone in the UK knows, it's been raining every day. So I'm out in the drizzle, wondering why I didn't just get a little trampette. But anyway, makes you feel awake, I suppose. Whew. Well, today is a beautiful day, so much nicer. So I'm going out to my trampoline. I'm using the trampoline because I've got one, and I just thought, rather than getting more kit, I'm not a trampoliner. It was my kids' trampoline when they were little. I'm just going to bounce like I was told to. So I thought I should be clear about that I'm not doing like flips and whatever people on trampolines do. I do love it. I think probably it's much easier if you've got one inside, actually, to be honest. The weather has been absolutely shocking. So apart from yesterday, which was nice, I've had... it's been pretty grim, and therefore motivation goes down to actually do it. But when I do it, I do enjoy it. I just find it a little bit boring. So actually today I listened to a podcast while I was on there. I've listened to Wellness Breakdown, obviously, but then I was listening to another one today. And it is quite nice doing it outside, but I definitely think doing it inside would be easier.
Welcome back, Rose. So the question is, are you still bouncing?
Not right now. The brain bounce is quite something, like jiggling around in the morning.
Well, I mean, I loved your voice messages, particularly about that I'm not doing any flips. I was like, Rose, I didn't ask you to go and become like a professional trampoliner with backflips and such like that. It was really funny. So tell me, because I asked you to do it 20 minutes a day. So A, did you manage to do that? And B, how did you kind of fit it in?
Well, because I had to do it, I did it. I probably, if I was left to my own devices, I probably would have put it off quite a few times actually last week, because it was so shocking, the weather. Anyway, I'd do it first thing in the morning. So that meant that there was lots of nice dew on the trampoline too. So every time you'd bounce, there'd be like a little drops of water in response to your bounce. The water would come up. So the feet got quite cold. When I started, I was very like, oh, this is great. As everyone knows, I live in the countryside, so that I have quite a lot of space. So I was like, oh, I can see my bird feeders. I can look at the countryside, and well, that wore a bit thin after day 2. So then I started listening to podcasts, or listening to music. Actually, in the end, yes. So to be clear, there was no flipping. There were no sitting drops. Well, I can't remember. I used to trampoline when I was a kid. Seated drops, whatever they're called, front drops, flips. None of that. There was one time when I got a bit too much bounce, and my balance isn't very good. So then I was just like
flying off on a tangent.
Flying off.
We're very happy that Ancient and Brave is back as our season sponsor. They have an incredible range of collagen supplements, MCT oil, and nootropic blends. As well as nourishing your skin, hair, and nails, collagen has been associated with whole body health benefits, which may include supporting joints and muscles to gut health.
Eve and I are both fans of supplementing collagen, but not all collagen is created equal. Ancient and Brave's is beautifully pure, highly absorbable, and clinically researched. Also, very easy to take as part of your everyday ritual, as it's also odourless and tasteless. Perfect added to your morning coffee or daily cacao.
Consistency is key when taking supplements, and to get you started, Ancient and Brave is offering 20% off your first 3 orders when you subscribe with the code WELLNESS20.
Ancient and Brave are passionate about sustainability. They are a B Corp and a member of the powerful global initiative 1% for the planet. So 1% of all sales go towards environmental causes that protect the planet. So buying their products means you're supporting the planet too. I did laugh a lot. It was really funny because I was thinking about you looking at me doing that. And just even you feel a bit, when you get older, as you said, that idea of playfulness goes out of us a bit. And it did really make me laugh. My God, it really brought quite a lot of joy in the morning, even though when I was heading out, I'd be a little bit like, oh, it's awful. I mean, it was just hilarious.
That was the whole point of it, was like, you did laugh and you're kind of flinging your body around a little bit, which, it's not something like as adults we really would kind of like do that. But I mean, the music thing I totally get, but I think it was interesting, like you did do the stereotypical Rose, okay, how can I maximise my time? Let me listen to a podcast and not necessarily get caught up in the moment. But it does sound as though you did like do some of that stuff. And if you think about the rest of the day when you were doing it, did you feel like you're, a little bit, I don't know if the word freer is the right word, but just that you felt like you'd released some things, or you felt like a bit more kind of positive, I guess?
I tell you what, it definitely started my day with joy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like it really did start the day, with a smile on my face and just giggling. So just that fact alone, never mind the exercise or any of the cardio benefits or anything like that, the fact that I had that sort of childlike moment in my day it set the day out really well, and it did last. I did really notice that. Actually, I noticed that my mood, I'm fortunate I don't really struggle with my mood most of the time. Having said that, I can feel overwhelmed sometimes just with the amount of work to do.
Yeah.
And this was like a little mini break of that in what's a very, as I mentioned, when you set the challenge, it's really busy at the moment. So, and also that was the other thing, doing 20 minutes is very doable when you're really busy. And actually, normally I would probably do 20 minutes of something, but it was much more fun doing this. But I wasn't trampolining, I was rebounding. So I was doing the same thing that I would be doing on a trampette inside. Being outside was really nice, even though it was pissing down with rain. So it was really good for my mood, I'd say, in general, actually. There are some days where, when you start and you just start the day and you're like, I'm het up already. Like I'm thinking about everything I've got to do that day and I'm stressed before I've even started. This really did reduce my stress at that point of the day. Okay. And it was just funny.
And it is like finding those little kind of moments of joy, really, because I said at the end when we set the challenge that, play is so underrated as a pillar of health and wellness. Like we talk about all the other things like nutrition, exercise, sleep, even things like, managing our stress, but actually play and joy is something we all need too. But so that was great. And did you notice any physical shifts?
I did definitely feel it in my legs. Like I felt it in my muscles the next day, and I could feel it in my ass. So I definitely felt like that. I also felt a bit cardiovascular. You get a cardiovascular.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's
quite intense.
It's quite intense
from a cardio perspective. Also core stuff.
Yes.
You're having to particularly with the balancing. It's amazing actually how much it does work that core. And so it is targeting quite a few. Maybe not so much arms. Actually, nothing really on your arms, but in terms of core stability and then like you said, your glutes and stuff. So there's quite a lot going on there physically. So you did feel that then?
I did really feel that. It was actually harder than I thought. So I don't know really, I hadn't really thought about the physical. I just thought it sounded like it would just be like a walk in the park. And it wasn't difficult, but it definitely worked.
I mean, I did do it a few years back. It wasn't a trampoline because obviously I live in London and in a flat, it might just take up the entire flat to have a trampoline in there. But I did have one of those trampettes, and when I was in a basement flat, I used to do it then, and then I moved to a first floor flat, and then obviously that wasn't going to happen because, I mean, I'm not sure my neighbour below would have been very much appreciative of my rebounding. So I'm jumping up and down for 20 minutes. So I didn't then use it, and then I can't remember what happened to it actually. I think I gave it to a friend or something, but actually now setting this challenge, I do remember how much fun it was, and I actually might just get a little trampette action going on, because I genuinely mean that when I say, I know I feel like a bloody broken record here, but I do think play is so important, and actually, what more playful can you get than literally bouncing up and down?
So, I know, well it does, and you said the word freeing. It is freeing because you sort of feel like a child, and you drop your pride and your ego.
No, absolutely. And do you know what as well? There's very little sort of barriers to entry with this in terms of exercising. If you're just starting out, or you've got time restrictions, or you struggle to go out to a class, I mean, providing you're not living in a flat and there's some neighbour below you, okay, there's the initial outlay of a trampette, but you can pick one up for like 40 or 50 quid. I think they're about that price, which, okay, I'm not suggesting that's cheap, but compared to like a gym membership or something like that, it does kind of tick the boxes in terms of that. So the question is, are you going to continue with your rebounding, Rose?
The answer is, I hope so. I might be more fair weather on my own. I did have a look online, actually, and there are some really people who take this to another level, and there are some serious gym classes.
My local place, they do rebounding. They look really hard. So
they
I do
look
think
really hard.
Yeah, you can literally take it up to like a different level.
Yes.
There was that whole thing, wasn't there, that I shared with you, the Goldie Hawn, over YouTube, her kind of dedication to rebound. I think it was on Vogue or something like that. So if people want to read about that, they should go check it out. But she's really passionate about it. Yeah. So like you said, there are a lot of people that are really into this.
Well, it's great for joints as well, isn't it? So it's great for joints and bone density, which is something that, is an issue for lots of people.
Definitely.
So it's really good for stuff like that.
Well, thank you so much for doing it, if only for some of the bants around it. I hate the word bants, but you know what I mean. And video footage is priceless. So anyway, before we go, let's read some of the emails that we've had. And remember, guys, you can message us on our Instagram or email us at info@thewellnessbreakdown.co.uk. We have one here from Joan, who says, I messaged you a couple of weeks ago to say I was booking into acupuncture and I'm so glad I did it. Like you said, Rose, it has a real calming effect to it, but also tackling my long-standing leg injury that I've realised I've just been living with. Oh, so that's really great that she's taken that from, that challenge and managed to go ahead and do it. So great, well done.
Well done, Joan. And I'm going back again to Joan. Okay, so there's another one here from Amy. Hello, Rose and Eve. Loving the podcast. It's really opened my eyes. I wondered if you had any thoughts on water filtering. I know we get told all the time to drink lots of water, but what is the best kind of water to drink, filtered or bottled? Like a lot of people, I have a filter jug at home, but what do you think of the larger filter systems you can purchase for home use? Well, I've got at home an ionizer, a water ionizer. It's meant to alkalise the water. Now, I have a slight issue around that because the minute the water hits your stomach acid, which is 1.2 on the pH scale, I can't see how that sort of slight alkalising of the water can have any impact. Having said that, what my ionizer does do is it filters out all the rubbish that's in there, all the crap that's in tap water. So that's why I use it. And I'm quite keen on my water filter. I think that jug filters are really good as long as you change your filter. People don't change the filter enough, and then it's pointless because then not only do you have the tap water, you've also got all the crap that's come from the tap water in the filter. Do you see what I mean? So it sort of compounds the issue. Mm-hmm. I think drinking water full stop is better than not. Bottled water, sorry Eve, I'm just going on a ramble now. If it's a plastic bottle, you don't know how long it's been in that plastic bottle. You don't know if it's been sat boiling in the sun in that plastic bottle. So what happens when you have plastic and it gets heated up by the sun is it leaches in what we call xenoestrogens, which can mess up with your endocrine and hormonal systems. Every now and then you will end up buying a plastic water bottle, but I would otherwise avoid that's one thing I would really avoid for the planet and for yourself. Get a glass bottled water if you can. And over to you, Eve. That's my little rant over on water.
No, I think it's a massive, massive topic, this is. And I think it's something that I definitely get asked a lot about. I'm sure you do, Rose, in your clinic and just at events and whatnot. I don't really know where to start with this, but, there are many different filters out there that are just a total con, like things like the crystal filters and all of that stuff. Oh, yeah. So if you want to get the most filtered water, then there is a process called reverse osmosis that you can have in terms of filtration systems plugged into your actually I think you can get countertop ones now, but most of them are ones that you actually plug in the thing, and that filters out everything. So that'd be heavy metals, and all of that stuff, but it's not going to filter out things like trace hormones and like antibiotics or whatever that's in the water system, if you're using something like a filter jug, whereas reverse osmosis would do that. The problem is that it also filters out a lot of minerals and things like that are good things that are in our water. So it's not the best from that perspective. And so if you're going to use that, then I would say you do need to then remineralize. I mean, again, if you talk about cost of all this stuff, it's really racking up there, because you've then got to replace the filters and all this, that and the other. So I think, all things considered, my advice personally is just getting a really good filter jug, because as long as you're using the little stick, they give you kind of little tab things with you can check the conductivity in there, and then you can see how, if your filter's still filtering it out and things like that. And I mean, I'm not paid by this company, but I do think Zero water filter jugs are actually really, really good. You look at what they actually filter out, and you can taste it in the water, if I'm being really honest. Like, it does taste different. And all that being said, like you said, it's much better that you're drinking water than no water at all. And it also depends on where you live. So like Thames water is rank, versus like if you go to like up north in certain places or in Wales, their tap water does taste different. So I think it's also about where you live too. But I think, at the end of the day, it's just more about being well hydrated and making sure that you are drinking plenty of water. Big topic.
And we haven't even talked about fluoride, but that's a whole other topic. Okay, thank you all for joining us on the Wellness Breakdown. Thankfully, next week we leave the challenge to one of our first guests on the podcast this season.
Good to know that neither of us are going to have to put ourselves through the paces of another challenge. But so really looking forward to this one. So make sure you join us then. If you've just found us, please subscribe to the channel, and you can also listen back to 3 more series wherever you get your podcasts.
And have a fantastic week, everyone.